I can't tell anybody else's story. I can only tell my own. I was in the midst of something huge. I was unaware that what I was making would turn into another thing entirely. That one thought I had would be my entire life for months. I never would have thought that the thought I had would create a new me. The thing is, I found myself as I journeyed through thoughts, as I researched and read and wrote and watched. I realized that everything I was told to believe wasn't my own thoughts, but expectations, pressures, measures of who I should be. I realized that I can't be measured, I can't be pressured, and I can't be expected to be anybody but myself. And I'm not going to conform to who I'm told to be, because I've fallen in love with who I've become. My message isn't just addressing what's wrong with our world. It's a hope that I can help someone out there uncover the person they are here to be. No longer will we be suffocated of life. We will breathe in everything that we are by discovering the things that make us so extraordinarily vital to our world. I have a lot to say, but what I discovered as I surrendered fully to what my heart was telling me was that the only story I can tell with full authority is my own. So that's where I have to begin. Standing vulnerably, freely, proudly, as me. This is my story. A story only I can tell. It all started back on September 1st, 2019 when I was watching YouTube one day. I was watching some YouTubers' older videos and I just realized how much truth there used to be, how much honesty there used to be. And I was like, where did that go?
To make the cutout bow back shirt, obviously you're gonna need a shirt and a few other supplies.
Everybody's right!
A family of 6 who have been making daily videos for the last 4 years.
And it was my first kind of bullying experience, so I didn't really know what to do. Guys, stop!
I want to show you how I really feel.
I'm on edge, okay? I'm a little bit on edge because I've kind of been putting this off. I don't know, it's not like anything I've ever made before.
This is not something that's just for underweight teenage girls.
I wanted to come on here and talk about something important, and if I'm being honest, I've never thought I was gonna make this video.
Hey guys, today I wanted to make a different kind of video. This is weird for me because I haven't done one of these in a long time where I've just kind of shared something about myself.
I know I'm going to be judged for making this video. It's not often that people say everything on their minds. I just feel like I owe it to you guys and I owe it to myself to be honest.
I'm nervous.
It made me realize that nowadays, a lot of that honesty and truth is blocked. And I couldn't get this thought out of my head because I was like, why is this happening? And why is this happening on a platform that I care so much about? Where is the truth? Where is it going? And how can we return it? Because without it, what are we?
1 week ago, I uploaded a video to my YouTube channel titled Tati. This video was a direct response to the video that Tati Westbrook uploaded to her channel titled By Sister.
It's about someone who reaches across all platforms 30 million people that are children and who is losing the ability to get honest more and more each day.
Apologize from the bottom of my heart to those that I have offended.
That's not what I want you guys to think I am.
It's really hard for me to say this just because I know that it's something that needs to be addressed.
It's crazy that I look at 2019 as one of my best career years of my life, and if you put it all into bullet points of all the things I did, you'd be like, wow, that's an amazing year. But mentally, I just feel like the lowest I've ever felt.
Things are getting crazy, dangerous, and we need to have a conversation.
My initial plan was to bring honesty back to the platform, to make YouTube a place for catharsis, a release of emotions. That was my mission, and that to me would be so powerful. But what I discovered was even more powerful. So I started researching. For months, I was in this critical mindset of analyzing and observing and learning everywhere. I was constantly looking for little things that would help me solve this puzzle of where truth went. Was it ever there? Everywhere I looked, I found little answers. Whether that be in books I was reading for my literature class, or movies I watched, or critically analyzing YouTubers, or watching interviews of celebrities. Everything helped me figure out a little piece of the puzzle. Ultimately, what I realized was that the truth is being numbed in a plethora of ways. What it ultimately comes down to is perception, perfection, power, relevancy, and underestimating the power and influence that creative content, that any type of content, that any type of interaction has on somebody else. So perception. Perception is huge, along with perspective. On YouTube, on the creator's end, you can control exactly how you want to be perceived. You can frame your life, your identity, everything through perception. So when it comes to perception on YouTube, from the standpoint of the creator, you have the power to make people perceive you in whatever way you want. You hold great power in perception.
And one of our major problems today is to find an adequate, satisfying image of the world. Well, that's what I'm going to talk about.
You can make people think that you live whatever life you want, shape your identity into however you want to be perceived. And in doing so, that's cool and it gives you a lot of freedom in many creative ways. But on a platform where I always got the sense that things were honest, that things were real, that it was different than TV, this great power ultimately limits truth. It numbs truth. It blocks the real person from showing who they are. And this goes along so much with perfection. We want to be perceived as perfect. I dare you to take off the mask of perfection and show up as you are. Feel the freedom, the relief, the lightness. Because when we are real, that's when we actually heal. And those around us just might heal too. We want to be perfect. We want to look like we have the perfect skin and the perfect hair, and we eat the perfect food, and we live in the perfect house, and we have a perfect family. So through perception, we're perpetuating this idea of perfection, which isn't real, and it isn't truth, and it isn't honesty. And that's not okay. So what does this amount to? Why is that important? Why does it really matter? It matters because this content has real impact. These videos, they might seem stupid, they might seem like something you just watch in your free time. It inevitably has some type of an impact on each and every one of us. I realized that most people on YouTube underestimate their impact. And this is where things got real interesting for me. Here are some of the things I observed from all these key things of perception, perfection, and underestimating influence. You get some weird little things that I would define as the YouTube plague. So the first thing I noticed, branded emotions. We know we can go to specific people and they will always give us the same emotion. It's like their brand. There's people whose branded emotions are self-deprecating humor.
That's so fucking stupid. I'm a freaking mess because I'm really stupid. I'm just gonna lay here in my own drool and tears. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess I'm just an idiot.
Whatever, I'm a mess. I think that's probably gonna just keep happening until I die eventually. I probably have never looked more stupid in my life.
Or maybe they're really, like, always super upbeat.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this video. I would like to let you all know that I am so excited. Welcome to my new house. I think I've officially gone insane. Hey everyone, it's JoJo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Within itself, that's not a bad thing, right? We all have emotions, we all have our own characteristics that make us who we are.
I'm turning JoJo into me, which I don't think anyone would want to do.
My energy is a lot more, and hers is a lot more, you know what I mean?
But what is dangerous on a creative platform is that you frame yourself in one way. And once you get success from that, you can't run from it. Think about it. If things are going really good for you, you're getting more views, more people are interacting. If everything in your life looked like it was going so well, why would you stop? Even if it's limiting you from being who you really are. So the thing with branded emotions that's really interesting is that it boxes you in, essentially. We all have our characteristics, but when we brand them, we're kind of stuck to those things that people think of us as. If you're one person on camera, but you've changed completely in your real life, why would you want to show who you really are if everyone seems to love who you've been and who you've showed?
A lot of people miss the old me. You know, I used to be blonde and like more annoying in my opinion and a lot more sad. So that was the old Emma Chamberlain, whatever that means. Now I'm apparently very different. In my opinion, I feel like I like myself better now because I'm more myself than I've ever been.
Never think of yourself as a brand. And I know that sounds crazy because that's such a thing, like everybody, oh, I'm my brand. That's gonna kill you, because if you consider yourself as a human a brand, brands get stale, they get old, and new brands come along. But if you're just yourself and you're enjoying what you're doing, that lasts forever.
Along the same lines, we have monotone emotion. On YouTube, things are always very constant. You're going to have a consistent way you carry yourself or portray yourself. But what it creates is this idea that a person is completely one level of emotion. I watched a lot of Brene Brown when I was doing all of this studying, and she was saying that when you numb certain emotions, you numb all the other ones. You can't completely speak in truth if you're numbing everything that makes you fully truthful. Another thing I noticed was idealistic realities. As a YouTuber, you can piece together the interesting parts of your days, the funniest moments, the parts of your day with the highest energy, and you're doing this essentially so that people will keep watching, so that you get more watch time and more views. But what you're missing is real life. Nobody else's lives are going to reflect that ideal life that you're showing on camera. And the ideal life you're showing on camera isn't your real life. So where does that leave you as a creator in truth? I always was thinking throughout this, like, not only is this negatively affect the viewer, but how is it affecting the creator? How do you see yourself? Who are you in your eyes? Are you fully distanced from yourself? Do you feel like you have two personalities? I don't think it's good for anyone. So I had gone real deep with analyzing YouTubers and their lives and how they portray themselves, and I was like, why? Like, why is this happening? And the answer is pretty big. It's in societal pressures, societal measures of achievement, societal beliefs. It's in all of those things that we are told to believe. And by that, I mean how we measure success in our society, and that's by money and power and a sense of relevancy, being known, and achievement. We measure achievement not really by looking at ourselves, but looking at the forces around us. And we try to meet these standards that are pretty unrealistic. And then there's the beliefs, those toxic beliefs that are out there and that so many of us take on as our own. Beliefs on how we should look, how we should act, things we should say, and things we should keep quiet. Really, essentially, who we should be. We're told who we should be. And really, once we accept these beliefs, once we take them on as our own, we limit creativity. We limit our true selves from shining through. We limit everything that we are because we're so bound to who we think we should be. How does that answer my question of why we're creating in a numb state on social media, on YouTube specifically. Really, all of these things are that we see on social media. The need to look perfect and have these idealistic realities, the need to frame ourselves in specific ways. It all stems from these beliefs that we're taught. It's not like a YouTuber conspiracy thing where we're all gonna be like this and we're gonna mess with everyone. It's really just the manifestation of these toxic societal pressures, beliefs, and measures of achievement. It's all of that, and it's manifested itself into YouTube. And I think that's ultimately what made me so angry. And it's really what put this passion in me. Because I am not okay with that. What that does is it limits creativity, which limits connection, which separates us not only from other people, but from our true selves. And these beliefs are blocking our own truth. It's blocking us individually from realizing our own truth. And then how we can't share that with anyone else. And ultimately, that's what we're here to do in this world, is to share who we are, who we really are, not who we're told to be. So this was a major find in my exploration of YouTube. And it's where things started getting a little more clear for me, but it also made things get a little intense because I realized the grand scale of this, and it was at this point where I was like, I think I'm in over my head. And girl, you were. We know the why. We know why YouTube is where it is right now. It's because of these pressures. It's because it's so easy to frame ourselves in ways where we can make people think that we meet these societal standards. As I was watching a lot of these YouTube videos, the people who spoke up all had this common theme, and that was that they feared the loss of relevancy. They feared that people wouldn't like them anymore if they showed their true selves.
When my real self was growing up, my video self wasn't as fast because I felt like people, you like create your own brand, and your brand is your name and it's who you are. And I knew my brand so well, but then when I started to grow up and I saw a different version of myself, I couldn't change that person online into that version of my real self because I felt like people who watched me liked me for that person who I was being online.
And I think where I went wrong is because of that pressure that I put on myself, I no longer let myself just make videos that were true to me. I started getting really stressed out about if something was gonna get views, or if people would like me, or if I, had a trendy personality and all that stuff.
Recognizing that, wow, if you live entirely for external approval, for other people's validation, it's going to be, you're going to live a very disruptive and difficult life.
My kind of addiction to this, especially this daily, sharing my life and every element of my life daily online, it became so blurred with my identity that I actually thought it was my identity.
The more I was changing, the more I was realizing that this character of Logan Paul Vlogs is just not me.
Especially the past 2 videos I made, it's just so clear that I'm lost and don't know my identity.
We're editing and watching back these videos that we're creating, and it's this isn't really who I am. I've grown so much from who I am acting like. Mm-hmm. It's but I don't want to act like my new self because I feel like people don't know him yet and they don't want to see him.
How heartbreaking is that? That hurts my heart so much. That as someone who is so creative, who is already putting themselves out there so much just by making videos and sharing their lives with people, feel that these people who support them wouldn't like them anymore if they showed who they truly are, if they showed that they grew and changed. But it's this fear mixed with this idea that everything is going okay right now. Maybe they're making the most money they ever have. Maybe they have the most material possessions in the world. Maybe they are friends with people of relevant status. Why would they change? Why would they want to speak their truth if things are going just fine? It's a valid question, right? Why? Maybe they wouldn't want to because they fear loss of that validation and loss of that success, which just shows how much these societal beliefs and measures have really seeped into them because they've neglected themselves for this image of who they think people want them to be. If you think about it, in our society, our worth is measured by outward forces: money, possessions, degrees, what our homes look like, the number of places we've traveled. So we're always wrestling in this dissatisfied state of needing more so that we can prove that we are worth more. But our true worth is found within our hearts, within our actions, and developed through experiences. Things are backwards, and it's not easy to undo these beliefs. It's really ingrained in us now. It's hard to take a step back. It's hard to form your own beliefs when you're constantly being told what you should believe. This is the moment where I realized that I was doing what I wanted everyone to do all along. I wanted these YouTubers to speak with truth. I wanted them to show their true selves. I wanted them to step away from these forced beliefs, from being the people that I know that they aren't. But I realized that in finding out how I wanted them to change, I was able to change myself. A lot of this process was just like huge self-discovery for me. And one of the things that was really cool about this was writing poetry. So I randomly started writing poetry within this span of 6 months or whatever it's been. And I'd never written poetry before, never really was that into it. I remember writing it in like 2nd grade and being like awful. But I love it now. It just started like flowing out of me. It's honestly really weird, but it's just such a genuine way for me to express my emotions, and I love it. And I wrote a poem that really, to me, shows this evolution of where I went from the beginning of this process of analyzation to what it made me realize about myself. So I wanted to read it with you guys. On the top of this paper I said, "Dr. Seuss has arrived." But it's all me. So this poem is called "The Time and Place Within." Was it today or another day that I'm thinking of, when the rain fell down like sheets of clarity? Clearer, clearer, clear. The rain that washed away the worries and sang a gentle song that brought me to a new place, a place I'd never gone. A bright and spacious place filled with courage and excitement. A place not here or there, not today or tomorrow, not yesterday or last year. A place where time had no limits. A place where wisdom was the key to understanding. A place that has always been and will always be found within me. This poem is reflective of the major shift I experienced in this project. I went on a journey to create something that would change the world, and in doing so, I became the change that I wanted to see. My initial plan was to make a video laying out all of the issues that I was recognizing on the YouTube platform and tie it all up with a pretty little solution. But big issues do not have pretty little solutions. So here's the shift. It's not just about them. It's not about the YouTubers. It's about all of us. All of us are reflective of these people we see on the internet, as well as celebrities, whether that be an actor or a musician or whatever. These people who are idolized in some way or have larger followings than the average person are mirrored by us. The problem isn't just them, it's all of us. But it comes down to a responsibility that we all hold, and those with the larger voices of influence need to take on that responsibility in a very mindful way, because we're all just trying to mirror one another. And it's only natural for us to mirror those who seem to have it all. We all have the power to change, and we all have the power to live our lives in a way that's truthful. Whether you are recording any part of your life and putting it out for the world to see, or just living your life, we are all responsible. This was kind of a hard realization for me to make because everything that I thought I was working towards didn't have a real solution. But all of this, everything that I've talked about, all of the things that I learned and observed, brought me to an awakened place in my own mind and in my own heart, which has allowed me to see the world completely different. It has allowed me to see myself differently. It's allowed me to look at my present self with a clearer view, and it has allowed me to trust whatever it is my future self is or does, because I know I'm trusting my heart, and I know that by doing that, I'm doing the right thing. Those discoveries were definitely made in part by music artists. I heard so many of my thoughts confirmed and affirmed when I listened to specific artists and to specific songs, and it made me realize that music is such a beautiful medium for emotion. You know when you listen to a song, or you probably have your favorite song or whatever, that just like, it can like literally change how you feel. How cool is that? So I was like, man, like, just like I think that you can do the same thing through video on YouTube, like this happens in music and on a different level too. So I had so many artists that really impacted me this year and I'm really excited to talk about. The first artist that I want to talk about, which was hugely impactful for me, was Kid Cudi. I listened to his Man on the Moon album, which is so good. It's an album that is just chocked full of emotion, so much emotion. He's talking about addiction and really dark, tragic themes. But in an odd way, it's very uplifting because it's so honest. In the beginning and the end, he has this like narrative part where it's like spoken. So the first song on the album is called In My Dreams. And the spoken part really spoke to me. I'm just gonna read it to you. Long before we know ourselves, our paths are already set in stone. Some may never figure out their purpose in life, and some will. There are a lot of us who are caught up in this hell we all live in, content with being blinded by rules and judgment. We live in a world where it's more okay to follow than to lead. In this world, being a leader is trouble for the system we are all accustomed to. Being a leader in this day and age is being a threat. Not many people stood up against the system we all call life, but toward the end of our first 10 years into the millennium, we heard a voice who was speaking to us from the underground for some time, a voice who spoke of vulnerabilities and other human emotions and issues never heard so vividly and honest. This is the story of a young man who not only believed in himself, but his dreams too. This is the story of the Man on the Moon. I love it so much. Like, while I've been going through this like change and realization and all of this huge stuff within me, it just like made me feel like I wasn't crazy, and it empowered me so much to express myself, to be vulnerable, to say the things that I'm saying right now. It just made me realize how much a song, how much just one song, one person being vulnerable, it can literally change someone. It can literally make someone do something they never thought they'd be able to do. And without the encouragement that I've had from music, I don't even know if I would be making this right now. The last song on the album is called Up, Up, and Away. This narrated part embodies so much growth and so much evolution in him. The end is never the end. A new challenge awaits, a test no man could be prepared for, a new hell he must conquer and destroy, a new level of growth he must confront himself. The machine and the ghost within. This is the journey of the Man on the Moon. Like that evolution, that you can change, that you can express yourself, you can be one person in the beginning of your album and a completely different person in the end. People are scared to change. That's a very valid thing to worry about, or to be anxious about, is change. I've had my fair share, even right now, of feeling anxious and panicky about change. But that album, I mean, he just like fully walked us through his change and like the really raw, painful moments. And I think you can do the same exact thing on YouTube. I think you can be one person and express yourself in all the ways that you feel and tell a story that's really real. And another artist that I really love to listen to, especially in the beginning of when I was going through all this, was Lauren Daigle. She's a Christian artist, and I think she just helped me realize that Christianity isn't some like cringy thing, which it can be kind of deemed as. Like, it has like weird stigmas, but I am a Christian, and I have been given the opportunity to kind of find what that means for myself, which is something I really am grateful for. My parents didn't force anything on to me, but I feel very comfortable kind of finding what faith means to me. So Lauren Daigle, she was huge in helping me realize the power that is God and the connectivity that we have as spiritual beings. The song Trust in You was really, it clarified a lot for me, because with this project and with all of my ambitions and goals and all of the feelings I was sorting through as I've been making all of this, and again, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but it feels right. This verse goes, "Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see." I'm always hard on myself. I'm definitely a perfectionist in many ways, and I have a lot of dreams. But I think through this time I was able to lay out all my dreams, analyze what they mean, and honestly get rid of a lot of them, because I realized how empty so many of them were. I realized that a lot of the dreams I had were not mine. They were dreams that were kind of forced onto me by what I thought I wanted from all of these pressures of the world that we live in. So I love that song. Another very influential artist is Nako, and man, I mean, there are so many songs of his that are just so insanely powerful. I think Nako really made me realize how much our past affects the present. There are so many things in our past that create who we are and affect us so deeply now, whether that's on a personal level or in a world view. Our past is so highly influential on who we are in the present. From the song Garden, which is like his newest song that's out, and it's so good. It's honestly just such a fun song to listen to. Like, it's got a great beat, so you guys should listen to it. I really like this verse from it. "Where is my home? Where is my garden? When I'm alone, I am surrounded." I have faced a lot of feelings of loneliness this past year, and I feel like I've finally gotten to a point where even when I'm alone, I feel surrounded, because I know how much there is going on beyond what I can see, beyond this physical realm, and I just am awakened to the fact that there is like this, such like, I don't even know how to, I can't even put it into words, but I see this inner place within me that is so abundant and so beautiful, and that is my home. I am home with myself, and of course I want to be surrounded by people, and of course times of loneliness are hard, but I've learned so much just from myself over this past year, and I'm so grateful for that. It's seriously making me kind of tear up right now. I'm just an emotional person. Another artist that was super inspirational to me has been Kanye. Like, you can be at any status in life, have whatever, you know, people can think whatever they think of you, and you can step up and do something that nobody would have ever expected. And also like Billie Eilish, I think her story of making music with her brother in his bedroom and then like all of a sudden gaining so much success from that. It just reminded me, like, you never know what's gonna happen in life. So all of these artists taught me something, and it made me realize how, first of all, how special the medium of music is, and also how any means of expression, whether that be music or video or art, like hand-drawn art or whatever, or poetry or whatever it is, all of it can carry so much emotion, and all of it can quite literally change someone's life. It just reminded me of the connectivity that we all share. We all impact each other directly or indirectly, and we have so many different mediums that we can impact people on, and I think nowadays more than ever. And that is so cool. especially if it's used in ways that is truly genuine and loving. Over the past 6 months, I've been breaking down the beliefs that I've been told. I've given myself the chance to replace who I've been told to be with who my heart knows I need to be. I've come to this awareness that all of this is an evolution. Inner evolvement is a lifelong evolution, but I choose to trust my heart through it all. And I think, which just makes me scared to say, like, that I have the same process that I've gone through needs to take place on YouTube, because with that we will be able to infuse reality, honesty, and truth into our art. It takes healing as individuals, figuring out who we truly are, and telling our stories. Okay, this is where I've got to sum it up in something that's gonna make sense. 1 minute. I think the best way to fully imagine this and embody this is by a nice little analogy. This is how I see it. Welcome to my tree. Think about a tree. The roots are everything that makes you who you are. And that includes the societal and social pressures and expectations. It's your past experiences, your family and your friends. It's your environment, and it's who you idolize. The trunk of the tree is you, the strong base. And the branches are your means of expression. We all express ourselves in different ways. Maybe you make videos. Maybe you draw. Maybe you make music. Maybe you are an author. No matter how you express yourself, at the end of every branch, there's the fruit. And that fruit is the people you influence. And as the person who's influencing that beautiful piece of fruit, you have the power to make bad seeds or good seeds, meaning that we can all influence for the better or for the worse. And what's important about a seed is that something new will grow from that. We can impact people and a beautiful, vibrant, abundant forest will form, but we can also influence for the worse, and we can create forests of destruction, forests that are burning with envy and fear. We have the power to influence, and we need to influence with our truth. It's hard for me to tie up all of my thoughts for this, but what it comes down to is healing, because you can't influence anyone for the better if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not listening to your heart, to your truth. So how do you heal? How do you start the journey of healing? It starts with taking a deep breath and saying to your heart, I trust you. Maybe you don't mean it yet. It's not easy to trust your heart, but just start with that. I trust you. And then you take on new healing practices. For me, that was in the form of yoga and meditation and journaling, a lot of journaling. It took the form of art and poetry, of thoroughly analyzing something that I cared so much about. And when you start this process of mindfulness, certain things will come to your attention. For me, I was very sensitive to how social media was affecting me. I completely deleted my Instagram. It wasn't providing anything for me. And I recognized that I needed to get rid of it. You know, for music, which I already talked about, it took finding the artists that put a piece of themselves into everything they made. And with YouTube, obviously I'm very passionate about YouTube. I became very aware of how certain people made me feel. You are giving your time to interacting with this content, and that should be supporting you in some way. It should never be taking away from you as a person. So I filtered through all of my subscriptions, and I really took into account how I felt when I was watching certain people. And I wanted to mention some of the people that I held on to, that I continue to watch, and that make me feel good. These people are YouTubers and also just people that I've found very helpful in my search for my truth. The first person is Brene Brown. One day I literally watched like all of her TED Talks and her Netflix special and like an hour-long podcast with her and Russell Brand. I feel like I need to go back and rewatch all of it now because There's so much packed into all those. This is one Brene Brown quote that I wanted to share that I really identify with and I think is hugely inspirational. You either walk inside your story and own it, or you stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness. No explanation needed. I definitely recommend watching anything or reading anything from Brene Brown. She's hugely inspirational and really woke up something within me. Another person is Russell Brand. He has a YouTube channel and he's just got such a good flow. Anything that you watch of his is so like full. It's so vibrant. There's like this abundance within him that just flows out of him. He's just crazy. Another person is Adrian from Yoga with Adrian. I've been doing yoga with Adrian for like 3 or 4 years maybe now. And her mission is just so genuine. It brings so many people together and I just can feel how genuine her heart is. I've learned so much from her, so much about the connectivity between our mind and our body and our spirit. She physically helps people feel good. Like, there are so many times when I show up on my yoga mat and I feel like I just need somebody to guide me through whatever it is I'm feeling, and she's always there. I was not expecting to cry about this, but yoga has changed my life completely, and all of my family's probably so annoyed with me because I'm always like, you have to do yoga with Adrian, and like probably 2 days of the week I'm wearing my Yoga with Adrian shirts, and I just love her and I love her mission, and she's just inspired me so much. It's crazy that what she makes connects people with themselves. Even if you're not into yoga, try it. Like, seriously, try it.
I'm taking care of myself in my little corner of the world while also kind of saying, but I'm also here with you. Like, we're in this together. We're all in this together, and I got your back.
Okay, so I have always been into watching families ever since I was in like 6th grade, like I said, when I started watching YouTube. And I feel like recently so many family channels are like this weird mixture of like reality TV and like a vlog. Like, it's very weird and confusing to me. One family that's really stayed just themselves is It's Judy's Life. It's so cool because I've seen this family and their kids grow up, and it's so crazy. Like, I feel like I'm like one of their family members. They really celebrate the mundane things in life. Like, I know what to expect whenever I watch any of their videos, but that's not boring to me. That's just such a comfort. I know that I'm going to a place where I always feel like relaxed and comforted.
One more time, last song. No.
I also love Grayson and Ethan Dolan's videos. When they made their video with Shane, I had this new respect for them. I've always loved their videos. They always make me laugh. But when they made that video, it just allowed me to see this greater depth that they had to them. And I just think it's so cool that they are so young and they have huge success and a huge following, and yet they are now more than ever starting to be more open about everything that they've gone through, all of the really hard stuff that they've gone through. They went through something so hard with the death of their father. And I think I even saw that they're making like a documentary about all of that. They're using that, I think, probably as a way to heal and as a way to help people, and that's just so hugely admirable.
I'm really grateful for this experience because without this, I don't think I would have made this much emotional progress in the past month that I did. So thank you to everyone that supported us while we were taking the time to make this. And 20 minutes. We truly love you guys.
Speaking your truth is the best thing, and showing that you've learned and evolved is just what life is. I've also been watching Peter McKinnon as I've gotten more into cameras and photography and filming, really. He's just super creative, and what I like about him is I'm someone who can feel easily intimidated by people or feel like I'm behind when people know much more than me. But he's super talented and super creative, and he reminds me of how much I have to learn in a way that's exciting for me.
You'll notice with YouTube, a way to be popular and a way to make content that's engaging is to hit that broad audience, but that doesn't always make you feel good. You need to tell the stories that you care about. When you do that, the audience will resonate because they'll feel the passion, they'll feel how much you love this topic, versus churning something out because you feel you have to, or you're just trying to keep the ball rolling. Use this time to fan the fire, get those flames high, because if you care, your audience will care.
All of that is to say, pay attention to how certain people make you feel. You might not know the person directly, but they are impacting you, and you do have control over who you let into your life, whether that be your social media life of who you subscribe to, or your personal life of, personal friends that you have. If someone isn't supporting you, let them go. You don't need to give your energy to people who don't give you anything in return. Not everyone will change. Not everyone will ever see things the way that I see them, and that's totally okay. We all have our different perspectives. I'm not telling anyone to change for me. I want people to change for themselves because I know how much listening to my heart has opened up so many new doors in my mind. I encourage everyone, just as I continue to encourage myself, to welcome change. Accept that we all have something to heal from. Begin the healing process and tell your story because we all want to hear it. And I can guarantee you that you are going to find support along the way. I want to end by talking about this feeling that I've had in my heart this whole time because it's the thing that for whatever reason I'm really still not completely sure about. For whatever reason, this feeling in my heart just never let me stop doing this. And I'm so grateful for this feeling that I have. It hasn't been easy. It's not easy to listen to your heart. It's not easy to go through those transitional phases between change. But somewhere in me knows that if I just listen to myself, if I trust my heart, I'm going to be going exactly where I need to go. And I am right now exactly where I need to be. If you don't have that feeling in your heart yet, it's just a matter of time before you feel something rising within you. It's within us all. And we all have something huge to give to this world. And it wasn't only this feeling in my heart. I've also been guided by numbers.
God forces near you, and if he gave you the vision, he's also going to give you the route to manifest. He's also going to give you the resources to manifest whatever it is you're trying to manifest. So keep a positive outlook when you see this number. An energetic gateway has opened for you. There's a space available for you because we live in a world of abundance. There is no lack. There is no limitation. Okay, so there is no scarcity at all. We live in a world of abundance. And when you see this number, your angels are letting you know we have a space for you. What do you want? Create whatever it is you want to create because it's available for you. That's confirmation. It's time for you to kind of go within yourself. Do something different. Do it your own way. You get what I'm saying? There's so many different ways to get to wherever it is you're trying to go. Do it your own way. Shine your light in your own special way. Do not try to conform or change to appease anybody. Just be authentic. They know exactly who you are. They are aware of you. Just shine your light and show up and show the best possible version of you. There is light at the end of the tunnel. This number also reminds you that you are here to evolve and to grow. And they are pushing you and encouraging you to do just that, grow. Step outside of your comfort zone. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you're put here to do. When you see 444, your angels are saying, we recognize you. We know you've been diligently working towards your goals. Like, nobody around you may not understand what you're doing, but your angels are letting you know We know that you're doing what you're supposed to do. So continue on that path. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. When you see that number, it's just like, you know, a sense of encouragement. Like, we got you. Keep doing what you're doing and move forward because you're on the path to success. Basically, a sign like everything that you're going through is a result of spiritual work. Like, nothing that you're going through is by accident. There's a bigger purpose.
I kept seeing all of these numbers on the clock and at the grocery store and on mailboxes and spray painted on garbage cans. I couldn't run from them. Just like I couldn't run from the feeling in my heart. Trusting yourself takes trusting the bigger picture, whether you're spiritual or not. Trusting that you go deeper than just what you can see. So be open to those feelings, to those nudges, because they always take you somewhere magical. And I am so grateful for this journey that I've been on with what I'm doing right now. And I'm excited to see where it takes me. Whatever you do, make sure that the process of creating whatever you're creating or working towards whatever you are working towards is the thing that's fulfilling. I choose to trust my heart. I choose to stay in tune with everything that I know is beyond me in this physical body. I choose to begin and end each day in gratitude. I choose to take care of myself. I choose to make choices with mindfulness. I choose to listen to voices of wisdom. I choose to do the things that I know are right for me. I choose to always convey myself in complete truth. This is the beginning of my story. A story that only I can tell.
Your heart is gonna find a way. Don't you worry now about setting love free. Yeah. That's when you're gonna start to see Thank you.